Let's run it. A little FT live on a Thursday with the full fam. Braun, Kratz, both AJs, and Adam Jones AJ has a big ass day coming up on Friday. Are you physically and mentally prepared to go back to Baltimore? You're playing, right?
Oof. There's 4 outs right there and a lot of running of the bases if they hit me the ball, I'll tell you that. But no, tomorrow I'm physically I'm ready for it. Mentally, I don't think I am yet. I think it'll hit me once I'm involved in the festivities. But I'm excited. Family and friends, ex-teammates, a lot of people coming out to support. It's a sold-out crowd. You got Tampa and the Orioles both fighting for the first place. Obviously, the series starts tonight, a big 4-game set. So it's just exciting times to be a Orioles fan and a Tampa fan. So, these festivities are going to be nice, a good celebration, and then watch some good baseball this weekend.
Give us something. Is there anything special that you have planned? Like I don't know if you're speaking or celebration or anything, right? And it's called what? Is it called the retirement ceremony? Is it like the chairs on the field situation?
No, I think that's more of the Hall of Fame thing. I
Okay.
think this is more gathering, and me and my kids walk from center field. I throw out the first pitch.
Nice.
Definitely throwing a knuckleball. I got my fingers filed for that. And no, I guess just a celebration. They asked me, do I want to say some words? How most people do things through newspaper clips or things, and I'm like, I'm not gonna really do that. I'm just gonna put out a really good, thoughtful reel so that I'm gonna thank as many people as I can or can remember, and they'll hear it from the horse's mouth rather than having to read it through the newspaper and making them money. You can tap on and give me the like so I can up my game when it comes to social media.
Nice. I like that. Okay.
That's a branding.
That's
Are you going to take a
forward
shot? Are you going to take a shot at John Angelos when you're on there?
No, I'm trying to get hired by him. No, I'm not. You guys want me to mess with him? I'm not messing with. I don't mess with owners. No, I don't mess with owners.
Just prod him a little bit.
AJ does.
The other AJ does.
AJ loves messing with owners. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with it. I might just tell him like, hey, just let me be your PR. Let me do it. Let me do it for you.
Dude, you would crush that. For you. Same with you, Pierzynski. You should be the PR for the Sox. No,
I'm not allowed to talk about the White Sox.
Oh, right. Okay.
Just bet on them.
They are the best organization in the world.
Good news. We have a lot to get to before we talk to David Wells is going to join us. So let's charge the damn mound. Powered by Tisa, and Chaim Bloom was fired.
He gone.
That's all I'm gonna know. I have a lot actually on this. Okay, there was a whole press release. They told him this in the morning before the Yanks Red Sox split doubleheader, and actually weird. Dombrowski got fired during a 4-gamer for the Red Sox against the Yankees in September of 2019. There's comments from the team, but then also later on, which I guess is the owner. Right? So I'll mix in a couple here. Like, while parting ways is not taken lightly, today signals a new direction for our club, since principal owner John Henry. Our organization has significant expectations on the field. And while Chaim's efforts in revitalizing our baseball infrastructure have helped set the stage for the future, we will today begin a search for new leadership. Everyone who knows Chaim has a deep appreciation and respect for the kind of person he is, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you, and also it's not just Chaim Bloom, it's also Brian O'Halloran, who's his GM, and he was the chief baseball officer. So Sam Kennedy, who's the president of the team, said they expected that they would, quote, be in this thing by now. And we fell short of that. They're aiming for world championships. He did rule out Theo Epstein, so we could put that all to bed. He's like, that ain't happening. He ain't coming back. And he said that, quote, we have gotten glimpses of this emerging new core of the Red Sox. There are a lot of great things to build on. And then separate quote, we need leadership that can continue to build the org from the bottom up, and quote, that is focused on winning at the big league level. So, AJ, is it Chaim Bloom's fault that the Red Sox were not good this year?
Is it the payroll's fault that they're not good this year? They didn't spend any money this year. They're 11th this year, and they're the Red Sox. They're 11th in payroll this year. Chaim Bloom has not been given the resources that predecessors to him have been given. They want to get under the luxury tax. I get it. But, man, it is just weird to say that they are 11th in payroll. And, listen, they're fighting with the Yankees, who obviously are higher than them. I actually think that Chaim Bloom's done a pretty good job. If you look at some of the people he's developed, at Tristan Casas and brought in Justin Turner, and he brought in some other guys on some pretty good deals. I think Chaim Bloom's done all right.
He definitely has. I feel like there's some things that he built that are going to last longer than a 8-year contract to a certain player or a 6-year contract to another free agent. Like, he's brought in. I mean, look at this roster now. Jarren Duran, they've developed him. And I know for a fact that Chaim Bloom created the player development structure that's down there, which, in my opinion, if you take over a team, and granted, COVID was in there too, like, you're brought in, if you're not given money to spend, you're brought in to develop a minor league system. He's done that. So now you have Jarren Duran, impact player. Tristan Casas, impact player. We'll get some Rookie of the Year votes. Now you have Rafaela, just came up. You have Wilyer? Abreu? Abreu.
They traded for him.
You have. I was there while they were working at bringing Brian Bello up to the big leagues. I was in. It was high A, double A. I was there as they were transitioning him. The player development system in the Red Sox was completely revamped, and they have it's Chaim Bloom's fingerprint on that because of who he hires. He doesn't necessarily hire all strategic, analytical guys. He doesn't necessarily hire all baseball guys. He's hiring people who care about the players and are incredible communicators and people who are not willing to be like, you know what, I know what's going on. We're not going to do that. Like, they're asking questions. They're very, very great. They're awesome at communicating. And so to fire him after you gave him, what did you say, AJ? The 11th payroll in baseball?
11th highest payroll right now.
Yeah, but Jonesy, I mean, the Orioles payroll is nothing. The Rays payroll is nothing. And I can come up with, half the league that is more than half the league spending much less than him, and including other teams that are not spending much. I'm just giving you a little devil's advocate action.
Right, but I mean, most of those teams aren't Boston. You're not the Boston Red Sox. That franchise is, especially this new century, they got 4 world championships. Winning is everything up to Boston and New York. Obviously, the Yankees have had Cashman for 25 years, so they have not parted ways with him. But in Boston, it's the chance about championships. If you don't win, there's always going to be a scapegoat, always somebody that you point a finger at, always somebody that does something. But just like you said, though, Kratzy, is about how he revamped the whole minor league. Somebody's going to get that structure and be able to pseudo take credit for it. We obviously know who the credit really goes to, but if the Red Sox have success in the coming years, it's going to be based. They're going to give the credit to the new GM. But we all know that the blueprint and the foundation was laid by Bloom.
Yep.
Also, don't forget, Chaim Bloom was ordered to trade Mookie Betts.
That was his first job.
I mean, that's the first thing you get. Plus, I mean, Chris Sale, right, was signed before he got there, I believe.
Yes.
So he was stuck with that. I love Chris Sale. He's one of my all-time favorite people I played with. But, his contract he hasn't been healthy for, so he's stuck with that, right? I mean, he's been kind of put behind the 8 ball trying to get under the luxury tax and trying not to spend money. But he also had to trade one of the best players in baseball right away. Then he has Chris Sale's contract on there. I mean, he's kept them competitive. I think last year they won 90-something games, didn't they? I mean, Trevor Story probably wasn't a great idea, but Bogarts walked. He did sign Devers. It's kind of been a mixed bag, but I think over the long haul, if you were to give Chaim Bloom a couple more years, because of what Kratz said and the way they've developed guys, and that's what it's all about, is developing players from your minor league system, the Red Sox are in a better place now than they were 4 years ago when Dombrowski was let go.
To me, I would say, what has he done wrong? Like, what, and we don't know.
He said, Story that so far is not a good contract.
Okay.
But he also wasn't planning on Trevor Story blowing his elbow out.
He had Tommy John surgery.
True.
And
it's not that bad of a contract. It's $140. It's insane amount of money, but it's not $225.
He got that $140. That's what I'm saying. Like, he got that $140. If that's the one thing that, we can't come up with anything else.
I got another.
Because $140 when shortstops were going for, I mean, this was during the same time that Tatis was going on, that was getting his contract. Not saying that, they spent as little as you were going to spend on the market for a shortstop.
No, but also the last 2 trade deadlines have been weird. And my question would be, and again, I'm for all you guys. I'm just giving you a little devil's advocate and what ownership's doing right now, going up. Well, because my thing is, I think that he should have stayed, and I think this is totally ownership's fault. They're not spending as much. They brought in a guy and said, hey, let's be the Rays a little more. And he's like, okay, I'll do my Rays thing because you don't want to let me go crazy, right? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm doing it, and that's a process. The Rays weren't built overnight. They were shitty for a while, even when they were kind of redoing their whole system. Yes. And they weren't going to consistent winner. Took time to find all of that. The ownership just got impatient. So let me just give you one other side, though. They had 2 weird trade deadlines in a row. I would just want to know, because Chaim's awesome to talk to behind the scenes, too. I would just want to know, like, what happened there? What was the game plan? What's going on? Because I think our show can continue to tell people that a front office, a GM, a CBO, whatever you want to call them, they operate within the purview of ownership. Everything that's being decided is in conversation with ownership. What should we do? They don't. Some teams, very few though, say, here's your budget or here's the situation, go. Almost all of them though, owners say, here's what we're doing. Oh, we don't want to spend like that, right? Oh, we don't want to trade our guys right now. We want to go for it. So the last 2 trade deadlines were super weird for Boston. Like this trade deadline, you're going for it or not? Are you deciding based on what the trades are, if you should go for it or not? That's where I think front offices are fucking up. And he's not the only one, where San Francisco and some of these other teams, like you either did nothing or you're shopping both sides. Like if I get a deal, then I'll go in. If I get a deal for this guy, I'll go out. Like you shouldn't, this is not a stock market. Is your team good or not? Should you improve it or should you get rid of your guys? The last 2 deadlines were weird. So I would want to know more about that. And I'm not saying that's the reason, but that's the reason. That's part of what they're going to put out there. I'm telling you that. You're going to see the articles over the next few days. They're going to go, oh, they were blaming those weird trade deadlines.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
White Sox have I think it was the 7th.
You're not allowed to talk about them.
No, this is a good thing. 7th or 5th highest payroll this year, 197 million, whatever. It was higher than the Red Sox, okay? Whose future would you rather have? Right now, looking at the 2 teams organizationally wide, the White Sox or the Red Sox?
It's not close. Red Sox.
Okay. Both of them just changed their general managers.
It will definitely, it's so ironic that they changed them almost the exact same time. It'll be like there's 2 trajectories.
Let's see what happens.
One
thing keep in mind, though, AL Central sucks. I don't think it'll ever be dominant. Or not, that's too much. It doesn't look good right now. The AL East is a freaking gauntlet, especially when you have the 2 non-spenders right now in their peak. So it's tough. The competition is fierce. Boston's not a bad team. Their pitching should be better. It's hard.
Dude, they're over 500. They're over 500.
That's what I'm saying. This is not a bad ball club, but it's not good enough to be a playoff team this year. It's just how it is.
We need to hear more inner workings of these discussions. Like the guy, first year he fires Mookie Betts, trades him over to LA. Then he essentially gets what he got for him. He got Connor Wong and Verdugo. That's it. And now
Jeter
went to. Well, no. There's 4 guys in the trade, but guys who are actually
who's
playing.
The contributor? Yeah,
playing.
That's a tough trade. They were dealing him.
They had to deal him. He had to deal him.
How many of those trades work out for both teams? Look how many times those superstar guys are traded and they get 4 or 5 guys back. It is very rare that a guy coming back is a guy to replace. I mean, even 4 of them combined, it almost never works out. No. I mean, look at the Nationals for Soto. I mean, look at all these guys. I mean, C.J. Abrams is a nice player. Mackenzie Gore is okay, right? But they're not making up for Juan Soto leaving. It just doesn't happen. And Chaim Bloom was put in that position because you can make this trade, right? And so we're going to put it on you, Chaim. We bring you in, and that's the first order of business. Like, dude, imagine if they would have kept Mookie Betts and spent on him maybe where they'd be right now. You just don't know. I mean, Yoshida's there. He had a great start. He's kind of fallen off the second half. Did they overpay for him? I mean, these are all questions that we'll find out over the long haul, right? But, I mean, Chaim Bloom was put in a tough spot from the get-go. Oh, by the way, trade away one of the best players, not only of Red Sox history, but could go down as a Hall of Fame player. Oh, yeah, get rid of him. Why? Because we don't want to spend the money.
But that's why owners pay front office people to take the hits for them. That's just the way the business works. But yeah, let's see what happens. I think we're all on the same page here. I mean, dude definitely didn't get full leeway to build the thing like he wanted to. There were a lot of positive signs, and ownership just said, oops, we made some mistakes on our front, and you're taking the hit for it. Someone's got to do it. So we'll see what happens.
He gone.
He gone. Also, unfortunately, got to say that about Scherzer, but we'll talk more about him later. Just wanted to say this Charge the Mound seg is powered by Teaser. Use the discount code FOUL, FOUL, for 20% off your first order at teaserenergy.com. We're talking to David Wells soon. Oh, we're talking to David Wells now, who is a great rep for Teaser, knows about the brand. We'll get into that coming up in a sec. Love the shirt from Kratzy too. But Boomer, how you doing, man? Great to have you on. You got the whole crew here: Pierzynski, Adam Jones, Kratz, and just little old me who didn't play the sport. What's up?
Nothing, just chilling out, man. Just got back from some hunting, and now I'm sweating my ass off out down here in Florida.
All right, so first off, tell us, you were sweating your ass off up at Yankee Stadium, right? How are all the boys doing?
They're doing good. It's good to see the old crew. Got the band back together for a couple days, and it's just like being in the locker room. You guys know that, talking to smack and having a blast.
What was like the? Oh, go ahead, AJ.
No, I was going to ask him. Were you mad they didn't play the game? I mean, were you
Hell
going to
no.
Were you going to get out there and like chuck your curveball up there? You know,
dude, I got surgery set for the 29th of November to get a new shoulder. This thing's done. I'm stoked I'm not playing in that game. But a lot of people were bummed out, but we're too old. We don't want to pull anything anymore.
No, I mean, come on. Like, I remember they used to have like Yogi Berra out there. I was fortunate enough to be at one of the old timer games, like maybe 2000, 2001. And Yogi Berra, they had like Whitey Ford come out and throw out the first pitch. I mean, he didn't play in the game, but I mean, I wanted to see you against Jeter, you against Bernie, you against Posada. Let's go.
Well, last time I pitched in the game, Paul Neal took me about 10 rows deep, so he could still play. That guy's still in good shape, man. So
the picture of him looked like he was mixing a couple extra reps. He looks like he's
Hulk.
He is Hulk.
He is
definitely not testing positive.
You know what? He probably has his drum set somewhere in the stadium, and he went out there and played about 20 minutes to get his veins popped out, so he looks like he's he is the Hulk, but he doesn't need that. He's pretty fit. A lot of guys, El Duque, Mariano, those guys, I'm like, they should still be out there on the mound.
Hey, Boomer, how you doing? San Diego kid. I went to Morris High School. You are Point Loma. So that's how amazing is it though to be around those guys? Again, when we're playing with each other, we're talking every day. When you retire, you go in to live your own individual lives. But how amazing is it to just get back with the guys like you never even left them?
Well, you're absolutely right there, because you don't see these guys for 10, 15 years, and then you're there for 10 minutes and it's same old again. And it's just the stories come out, remember when you did this, remember when you did that. And it's just great. I mean, we're just a lot older, but you know what? You'll never take the kid out of us at all. And that's the beauty of going back to Old Timers Day or just any function when you're with your peers. It's always going to be something, because there's never going to be any I would say there's no intimidation, there's no you don't have to worry about anything, because somebody's going to come up with some screwed up story, and it's just going to be nothing but laughter. And you being a Morris alumni, Sam Horn and Mark McLemore, who I played against in high school. I don't know. Do you keep in touch with those guys at all anymore?
Yeah, both of them. McLemore's my mentor, and I got to know Sam Horn really well when I got traded to Baltimore, and always seen him in Boston. So I love both of those dudes.
Yeah, they were fun to pitch against in high school. Sam hit a home run off me. I think it went 214 feet in that right field fence that you guys had back then.
Oh yeah, we got our pesky pole.
Short porch.
Hey, Boomer, how much are you watching the current game? And if so, thoughts on like the Padres 0? Oh, well then I don't have much for you. How about, do you even know? The Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs this year, which should be like taboo for your world.
No, I've been to 2 games. I was in San Diego for a bit. Went to a Padres game with my buddy Chuck, and actually I've been to 1 Yankee game, and that's about it. I'll catch bits and pieces here and there, if I'm watching. If I'm not doing something, or if I'm at home, I'll flip through and I'll catch some stuff. But it's just so hard for me to watch. Going to that game in San Diego, and I think the pitcher got nailed like 3 times with the clock, and it's just frustrating. You see the frustration on him, but I'm just such an old school guy. I don't like the way the game. I think Rob Manfred hates the game of baseball because it keeps changing all the rules for the worst.
What needed to be changed when you were playing? What was when you were playing? You were, what did you guys talk about? Like, man, we need this to be changed.
Umpires because when I came in the league, my first outing was against the Yankees. My first batter was Ricky Henderson, and I threw a ball right down the middle, and it was ball 1. I'm like, wow. And then when I pitched against Wade Boggs, it was the same thing. I kid you not, their strike zone was 3 inches by 3 inches, and that was it. So basically, you had to throw it, and they had to hit it, and that was a frustrating thing for me when I came up and through my tenure, was just the strike zone because it always changed a lot. And I threw strikes. Everybody knew me who hit against me. They knew that they had to come ready because I'm throwing strikes. I'm gonna get you out as fast as I can. I wasn't like Mike Mussina trying to strike everybody out, and he was obsessed with striking guys out, and he was one hell of a pitcher. But to me, I just wanted to get out of there. But with the changes, it really wasn't a whole lot. We talked about how we're going to get better. We tried to change the culture of the team all the time. Sitting after the game, with a bucket of beers and trying to figure it out. That's what we did. And now today, I mean, the script is written for them. There's, the analytics have taken over, and these guys aren't swinging at certain pitches. And then that's, and now the strike zones, they're up and down. So you just see a lot of changes in it now that, really wasn't there unless you were in the National League where the strike zone was, for pitchers, was huge. They were like John Hirschbeck. He had a wide zone. That was the whole National League, being an American League guy.
I wanted to ask you about longevity. Playing 21 years in the major leagues is a dream come true. Getting there is a dream come true.
Right.
To this era, especially, now the money is different. You can play 1 inning and they offer you $50 million after you don't even have to prove yourself. What advice would you give to these young kids and some of the vets on how to preserve your body for 21 seasons, which is, the tip of the cap and a salute to you, sir, for that.
Well, that could be a loaded question.
I know a few of the answers.
I burned the candle at both ends during my career, but I always had the knack to go out there and compete, and to me, as pitchers, all we did was run. We did our 5-pound cuff weights, did this, but as pitchers, we just ran a lot, and to me, when you run a lot, you're building your legs up, and you might go through a dead ball or a dead arm period, but you get over it really quick. But to me, I just 12-ounce curls were always good for me. But, I was a different breed. But to me, it's having the will to go out there and compete, obviously take care of yourself, take care of your body, which I totally didn't do. But, I was just one of the lucky ones that got away. But, for these young kids coming up, with all this money that is thrown around, it's there for the taking. Just be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not. Go out there, get your own identity. You did it. Everybody on this panel did it except one, but he did it in his own way. So, I think that you just have to have that sense and just have the will to compete and try to better yourself every time out.
Boomer, I think people get a laugh. And I chuckled when you said you used to run a lot, because I think most people would look at you and be like, "That dude ran? Like, come on!" Like, I
ran a lot. I just ate a lot and drank a lot. That's the thing. We would run 20 poles every day and 10 sprints, and I would pretend to do the sit-ups, but I did them. But to tell you, AJ, for as big a guy as I was very, very athletic. I could fill my position, and being at 260 to 280 pounds, I could still run faster than a lot of guys out there. I was a sleeper, but once you're an athlete, you're always an athlete. That was me running from the police a lot when I was a kid, so I had to I learned how to run real quick.
Would you have survived? Would you have had the career you had if you played in this day and age, or would you have fought guys? Would you have not thrown hard enough? Like, how would you have done? Or how would you do if you just got plopped your career, boom, right into today's baseball?
Well, I think today's game, because everything is scripted for you, I made my money pitching in. So that's to me is I didn't want these guys to get extended. And the guys that can hit for power, you just tried to stay in on them. The guys that didn't have the power, up and away. Like Wade Boggs and Don Mattingly, they weren't really threats for me unless I pitched middle in or the middle. But if it was up and away, back then they didn't go deep like that. And then all of a sudden the steroid era came and everyone's going 50 rows deep oppo. But to me, I think I would fare pretty well. Because I pitched my game. I never, very seldom did I look at the reports. If I didn't know anybody, if I knew a guy came up, I would sit with the catcher, and or with the pitching coach and just go over something like that. But I would go to the meetings, but it kind of went in one ear and out the other because I pitched to my strengths because I threw strikes. I threw 5 pitches for strikes. So, you couldn't really sit on anything. So to me, I think I'd be okay in this day.
As one of the 24 men with a perfect game, how well do you remember your almost second perfect game in '98? 28.
That was
28 straight.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Derek lost it in the sun or the lights, and it was just a routine. I think Giambi hit it, and it was just like I just put my hands on my head like that, and then the media just took that and ran with it. And then Derek, he comes on the mound, he goes, "Hey, we don't play that crap around here." I'm like, get back to shortstop. I'll tell you what's going on. But yeah, it would have been cool. But in a sense, I've made comments. I'm glad it didn't happen because there's so much pressure when you're in one of those situations. But it would have been cool to be the only guy in the history to do 2 perfect games in a row. But Johnny Vandermeer was back-to-back no-hitter. So let's just let him have that record for the rest of baseball history.
You mentioned the steroids. When the steroids came in, dudes started dropping tanks oppo. How much do you feel like in 06, when greenies got banned, that made an impact on the game?
I never really got into those. I wish I would have done the steroids now because I probably would have had a better body, and who knows what the hell would have happened. But it to me it's competition, and I don't care if you're on it or you're not. I've been plagued by it, by losing games from guys that normally don't hit a home run off you to doing that or fisting one in. But the greenies weren't really, to me there were so many day games back then, and if you're getting in late, I didn't ever have a problem with them. To me, you still got to play the game. Steroids, is a different subject because that does enhance you. That does make you stronger. And for these guys, but the guys that were injured, and if it was under a doctor's supervision, I don't think I would have a problem with it. But all the guys that did it, they're lying about it, saying they never did it, and they did it. But it's like, what the hell? But I'm a code guy. I won't throw anybody under the bus. You just live and learn with it, and I know what I did in my career, so I'm all right with it.
Not asking you to throw anybody under the bus, but you said when you started noticing balls going into the seats, what was the first time when you noticed that you were like, what? Like what year? When, like, how did that ball get out? How did he?
Well, let me tell you, so I think it was 89, 88 or 89, maybe 90. And I remember in Texas, and I think it was Ruben Sierra, Pudge, Julio Franco, Juan, all these guys. I remember the year before they were so skinny. And then like a year or two later, they're so big and they're just going deep. I had no clue. And I don't know if they've ever been caught doing it, if they were on the list. But that's when you had a sense that there's something going on here when these guys are going that far. Oppo, that deep. But then all of a sudden, the whole league is doing it. You know, and they didn't move the ballparks in that much back then. So you just had a sense of like, all right, that guy's on it. All right, well, that guy's on it. You just never knew. But like I said, you still have.
Hey, we
I
lost.
think
him.
we lost him.
Oh,
No, no.
I thought it was our screen. I thought our power went out. You came and my power went out in my house again.
Oh, jeez. We'll get him going again, though.
Yeah.
We'll bring him back in a sec.
All
Give
right.
us the heads up when he's there.
And Boomer's awesome.
He's always been
Dude,
awesome.
we
I wanna-
we
Man, he
haven't
was one of
even
my
gotten
favorite-
going
He was one
yet.
of my favorite dudes to get to face because he would talk shit to you while you're facing.
While
him.
you're
It was
hitting?
great. Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. He just looked all fat and raggedy out there, and he just strike you out, and you're like, son of a bitch.
And
And you
also,
were
like, the
young,
night
too.
before, he went out with, like, a bunch of, like,
Oh yeah,
A-list actors to just have an absolute rager.
dude, he was one of the best.
I
He
mean,
was one of the
he talked
best
about
dudes
it.
ever. To like after a game, be like, let's go have a beer. Come on over, have a beer.
Here we go. Yeah, I heard that.
You're
AJ.
back, Boomer.
All
Let's-
that.
Yeah, he got you. He got you. But wait. You know, just to finish that, because I think it's important. Like, you know, that you were talking about. Like, all of a sudden, you see, you know, balls flying, dudes looking differently. Like, I mean, to finish what you were saying, and also, like, were you pissed? Did guys like say anything? Think that like the league should respond, or just like, oh, whatever? I got to decide if I want to do it or not.
To be honest with you, I didn't really know. I just said, damn, these guys got really big. It's like when I played against Canseco in rookie ball in 1982, that's dating myself. I mean, that dude could hula hoop in a Cheerio. And then all of a sudden, like, I see him in Double A, and he's the Hulk, him and his brother. I was like, dang, what's going on? These guys got big. But you just didn't really know. I didn't know it until, like, later in my career that it was really an issue because guys, you know, I don't know if I guess they hit it good, but to me, I didn't know who was doing it, yet maybe had an inclination of who did. But to me, you know what? I still had to go out there and pitch. And sometimes if you had an idea, you still had to go because it's a challenge because now this guy can go deep on you, you know, on pitches away and all that. But, you know, but then they're trying to say that the baseball is wound too tight. It's all this stuff. So you never knew what was going on. Like I said, I pitched in the era. It didn't really bother me if the guys did it. It just sucked when you lost on a guy who was dirty.
Hula hoop through a Cheerio. Now that's hilarious.
I love that. That made me laugh.
That's a good line.
That made me laugh.
That's hilarious. As you were a 7-8 year vet at the time, probably 9-year vet at the time of the strike, and you obviously played during the steroid era. Did steroids and the home run, because that's what followed with it, did that
Right.
save baseball? Because you would know before and after those. And since me, I was just a little pea green trying to watch you guys.
No, I mean, the strike was, you know, nobody wanted to strike because I lost a lot of money during that strike. Actually, I went through like 3 or 4 of them damn things. But, you know, they were trying to, I remember, I think it was 94 or whatever, and we were going through all the meetings, and, you know, we needed guys to speak up. We needed baseball. We were losing the fans. So I remember them going to Cal Ripken and, you know, trying to get some of these impact guys to try to help the game of baseball come back because we didn't want to lose the fans. You know, that was one thing. And then, you know, everyone's saying that we're greedy. We're making too much money. Well, flip that right now and see how much these guys are making and then talk to me about who's greedy. But these guys aren't greedy. Make as much as you can for as long as you can. But, you know, you never knew when it was going to end. But, you know, that was just the life that we led back then. So to me, you know, with the steroids, they wanted more offense. They got it. But the strikes, you know, they just kept coming, and then the collective bargaining agreements, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it was just the owners against the players, and you know, it was one of those big old clusters that you just didn't want to be involved with, but it happened.
Boomer, what was your favorite moment? Because I faced you 18 times,
And I hit you how many?
twice, only twice.
One game, but you always leaned in.
I know because I didn't want you. But so you hit me twice. I was only 3 for 16. So I mean, only one punch out though. So I'm proud of that. You hit me more than you punched me out. All right.
Well,
But
when you see guys leaning in, and to me, it's like that just goes, well, they don't want to face me. They want to get on. They can't hit me. So just drill them. And then, but the thing was that you weren't a threat on the base. So I was just like, man, I can't get it unless I get a double play. But I couldn't pick you off because you never ran.
exactly. That was all part of the plan.
I know. Well, you're on base.
No, that wasn't even. It wasn't even about bashing me, but we can do there. It's fine. This was actually about something else. I was going to bash you. No.
That's
so I
fine.
faced you. No, it doesn't bother me either. That's why we get along. But
that's right.
I mean, obviously, you pitched in some huge moments. A perfect game, when you threw the perfect game, right? You also pitched the first game at Petco. You started the first game in Petco, right? Petco history. You pitched in World Series. You won World Series. What would you say is your biggest moment that you pitched in? I guess perfect. You're going to say the perfect game, but is there another moment that fans wouldn't know about that you pitched and said, "Damn, that was like the coolest thing that ever happened"?
Jeez. I mean, when you play 21 years, a lot of things have gone down. I mean, I mean, if anything sticks out, I mean, it was a game in Atlanta when I threw a shutout. I think it was a 1 or 2 hit shutout, but I mean, it was 1,000,000,000 degrees. And here I am, 270 pounds, sweating my butt off, and then get a base hit, and then Knobloch hitting 5 foul balls, and I had to run. But I guess that showed endurance on me. But I think, to be honest with you, AJ, it was more of the postseason, because I stepped up at the postseason, and I wanted the ball at any given time. I didn't care if I had a day rest or 3 days rest. It didn't matter to me. I think I made a name for myself more so in the postseason, because I just, I had that knack to win. I wasn't afraid to fail. And that's what I tell these young kids. I said, just go out there. Don't be afraid to fail, because your failures are your biggest asset to anything. I don't care what job description you have. You're going to fail, and now you're going to know not what to do. But to me, I think to answer that question was probably mostly postseason.
Okay, good, because I have one for you. That was my favorite highlight of you. 2005, you hung a curveball to Tadahito Iguchi in Game 2 of the ALDS when you were with Boston, and he had a 3-run jack off you. After Tony Graffinino let a ball go through your legs, did you say anything to Graffinino after the game? Were you like, "What the fuck, dude? You just caught this?"
No, I love Graf. Graf was a good old boy. You can't. That's one thing I never did. It was show my teammates up.
Except for Jeter.
Well, that wasn't showing them up. I was just like, it was like, how do you miss that? But it really wasn't a show up. But no, when you things are going to happen. That should have been the last out. I should have got through that. But Tony, you just make mistakes are there. You brush it off. If I made a mistake or I did that, I'll turn around to the guys in the infield. I go, I got your back. I'll get this next. I'll save your butt, or I'll save my butt. Either way it is. But that was one of my biggest pet peeves, is not to show my teammates up, because if it's Derek or Tony or anyone, you piss them off, then there's a lot of olays going on. Oh, I didn't get to that ball, and they're going to make you look bad.
We all have like an inner circle of guys that we are tighter with outside of the lines. Who's your group of circles that you go with, have your beers with, go hunting with, just go out and live in the free world? Who's your group of guys that you do it with? Anybody big names? A lot of our friends are just normal guys.
The best scumbag ever in the game of baseball, David Cone. That guy, he was my guy. He threw me under the bus. I think it was 98, and we just and he started this. He started this whole, let's go out the night before we pitched, because we went into Oakland, and he was just coming off that aneurysm. And we went to the bar, because we had to stay downtown Oakland. That's one place you don't want to stay. And they said, when the sun goes down, don't go out. So we went to the bar, and it just about 10 o'clock, and then it was pretty dead. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people started showing up, and before you know it, it's like 2 o'clock, and Dave had to go out and pitch, and he had a no-hitter and got taken out. because he was on a pitch count. And so the next day, I'm in the dugout, hungover as hell. After the game, shower, grab a little bit to eat. I get on the bus, and Coney gets on the bus. He's like, "Boomer, you ready?" I go, "For what, dude? I'm hungover. I'm going to bed." He goes, "Remember last night?" And I go, "Yep, that's right. Let's go." And we went to San Francisco, and when the night went on, I ended up going to shutout the next day, and that's kind of where it started. So at the All-Star break, Coney goes to Joe Torre and he says, "Hey, you got to split us up, man. I'm not getting any sleep with that guy." And I'm like, "Really? That's calling the kettle black right there. He's the one that started it." And so Joe spaced us out a day, and it turned out great. And, we had that fabulous season.
I didn't know they had a pitch count back then.
Yeah, I'm curious. What was the
when you have
pitch
an
count?
aneurysm, you had to.
True.
Yeah.
Fair. So are pitchers nowadays doing it all wrong? I mean, we know how many guys, I mean, Jonesy or AJ, do you think how many starters percentage in this league this year go out before their start and have a night? I would say 0%. Zero.
Heck, when I played,
A lot of what's the edge straight edge. A lot of straight edge guys in baseball.
There you
For
go.
life.
Man, you can sleep in.
We called them Bible thumpers back then. So the Bible thumpers stayed in. Scumbags went out.
What did someone say? I don't want milk drinkers on my team. Tony Muser back in the day. He's like, I don't need too many milk drinkers on my team. I want guys that drink beer. Well, you can. I mean, Boomer, you didn't retire that long before I did. But I didn't have guys. We didn't have guys go out even starting. Burley is the only guy I can ever remember that would go out and have a beer like the night before he was pitching, or maybe Freddie Garcia, maybe a couple other guys. But it was
Freddie
very
Garcia.
Rare.
That dude was an animal.
Well, I mean, not the night before he pitched though. 2 nights before. But just the night before he would usually stay in. But every other night, yes.
Dude, well, then you caught him late because when he was in Seattle, that dude smelled like a brewery 24/7. It was great because I was out with him, so it was great. I knew it.
Listen, there's no guy, Boomer. If I had to pitch one game, my life depended on it. Freddie Garcia is at the top of my list.
He's a good one. He was a gamer. But Mark Burley, when I was with the White Sox that short stint, he was a rookie, and him and Kip Wells and the guys. So I would take him out a lot, and I knew Burley because Burley, I worked with him. I loved working with him. He was awesome, and I hope that guy gets in the Hall of Fame. But he could pitch. He wasn't overpowering. He just had the knack, and I worked with him a lot, and I saw what this guy could do, but nothing fazed him. I mean, I would take him out. He'd have a bunch of beers with me, and he'd see it, and he would embrace it. But to me, it's like when you guys played, we played together for a little bit, but I didn't encourage it, but it just happened. But you know what? When you're out and you got night games, you can sleep till 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and you're good to go. Go run it off. Go sweat it out, and you're good.
Best going out story, I guess, that you can say, you don't have to throw whatever you want to do. And also, like, I'd be curious for even like the more casual audience crowd, because you were always talked about like, oh, you'd hang out with like the SNL crew and all of that. Like, you had perks being, a big shot on a dominant dynasty franchise. So do you have anything good you can share on that front? Good friends you made, because you were statusy.
You know what? There's so many nights and so many crazy things that you just can't say on television. That wouldn't incriminate me or anybody else. But it just, I don't know. That's a
Who's your most famous friend? Like outside of baseball, like who did you get to spend time with in the city?
Outside of baseball?
Yeah, like an A-list celeb kind of situation that you got to hang out with, like a big actor or something.
A lot of them. I was fortunate. I mean, doing the MTV Rock and Jock back in '98 and I think in '99 was pretty cool because I remember Snoop Dogg, man. We played it and Randy Wolf. We were playing at some college in LA, and it was the Rockers against us, and it was Method Man, Snoop Dogg, a whole bunch of other guys. But they had this pitcher on their team, and they said he was a rock. When nobody knew who he was, it was Randy Wolf, and he was bringing it. And so we're in the locker room, and Snoop's like, D. Wells, you want to hit this? And I'm like, yeah. Let's do it. I'm like, sure, let's do it. And we did. I go out the pitch. He goes, hey, whatever you do, don't hit me, because we were throwing pretty hard. We didn't use the baseballs, but we used a softer ball, but you could still bring it. And so I got loose. I was a little inebriated, and I said, you know what, piss on, I'm going to drill Snoop Dogg. And I smoked him. And he drops the bat, and he comes running out at me, and I started charging him. And he goes, just pretend. This is just pretend. So I pick him up, and I kind of slam him, lightly. And here comes Method Man trying to rip my head off. And I'm like,
For real?
What's going on? And it turned into a little brawl. But we found out that this pitcher, once it all settled, and Snoop kind of, he said, hey, guys, this was staged. But it kind of wasn't. And then Randy Wolf, we find out this kid's in the big leagues, Dylan, and his brother's an umpire. I was just like, yeah. So I got to know Snoop Dogg and all those guys back in the day. But, I hung out with a lot of people. Actually, a couple of years ago, and my idol, my dream, made my life complete, was golfing 3 days with Clint Eastwood. That took the cake. That was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That had to be. I'm assuming that was at Bevel.
Yeah, at his course, it was his tournament over at Tehama called the Clint. And let me tell you something. Clint didn't hold back, man. He was the stories that he would tell, and if he talked about, he loved the dirty jokes. That was he would just crack up, and I'm like, I go, Clint, damn, dude, you got a lot of kids. He goes, yeah, I got to quit sleeping with the leading ladies. And I was floored, man. I thought it was the best thing ever. But 90 years old, 91 years old, and he's on the dance floor all night with every lady in the room, grabbing their booty, slow dancing, and didn't miss a beat. And that's my idol right there. That guy, he's had a great life. And if I could have spent half of my life with him, I think it would have been awesome.
Awesome, or you might have gone to Joe Torre and said, hey, can you get me away from Wells? I'm not getting any sleep.
You never know on that one. But yeah, just being in New York, you're with guys all the time. The whole cast, Jimmy Fallon and I, we used to run a lot. But everybody in there in New York, it was just great because, like I said, you burn the candle at both ends in that city. But it worked for me. It didn't work for a lot of other guys, so it doesn't matter to me. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Were you pissed when you were shipped out of New York City?
Oh, I was
shipped away from the Yanks?
Yeah, because we just won the World Series. You throw a perfect game, you're a fan favorite, and I was not a fan favorite of Joe Torre. Him and I never saw eye to eye. But first day of spring training, I get traded. I was pissed, and so Coney's like, I'll come over your house after workout. So Coney came, and so I left for 3 days. I went down to Doral and played golf, and then I showed up, and then I went to the Blue Jay thing. I said I quit, and they're like, we just traded for you for Clemens. I go, I don't care. I didn't ask for that trade. I quit, and I asked for an extension, and they said we can't do it. I said goodbye, and then they ended up giving me an extension. So it was great.
Nice. Hey, did you have that in mind the whole time, or were you really real about quitting?
No, I was ready to quit because, I was just with the Yankees. And to me, that was just, what better place to play? It was a dream come true, being a Padre fan and a Yankee fan and getting to play for both teams. But, I didn't play with the Padres till later. But, to me, that was just the pinnacle. But, and then they go and win 3 more World Series after that. And I got screwed out of those ones. But it just sucked because I felt like I belonged in New York. And to me, that was where I wanted to be.
Why don't you guys try that, AJ? Jones or Pierzynski?
Try what?
Or any of your teammates. If someone gets traded and they're pissed, just be like, I quit. Extension or I'm out. You can just trade it for me, and you can't take it back. No take backs.
Because you know what you
Luck
have
with
to,
that.
you know what you have to be to be able to pull that off?
What?
Really fucking good. They would be like,
Well-
fine, see ya. Go.
I
We
disagree.
dare you to go home.
From the fellow All-Stars, I will disagree with that. But I mean, I think you've got to have some good financial security too to be
Also
like,
true.
see ya.
Yeah, but Boomer,
No.
listen, Boomer, they love Boomer so much they brought him back. I mean, it wasn't like he went away and never came back. They eventually brought him back.
No, they did. But let me tell you, you two guys were studs, and you could have done the same thing. You just didn't have the balls enough to say it.
I never got traded in.
I
I never got traded in spring training, so I can't say that.
Well, I got traded in spring training and released in spring training, so I had them both.
Did you say anything to Tori after that happened, or do you guys have a relationship at all now? Like, what was that all about? I don't know how much of it, was covered back then, but it was certainly, known.
No, I was pretty adamant, and then when I retired, I was bashing them a lot on TBS when I was working there for 4 years, and they were getting mad at me. But just let it burn out. And Joe and I are friends. I respect them. The thing is, you can't go on hating everybody forever. So you try to make amends and all that. But during your playing days, we're always angry. It's just something so small or something gnarly can really set you off, and you could do it. But he's too old, I'm too old, I don't want to go do it. It's just better to cut the cord and move on and just try to be happy and support one another and do all that kind of stuff. So I was just with him in New York, and it's great. But you still have those, if you go back down memory lane, it still burns a little bit, but that's just the way it was back then. So you got to deal with it.
Boomer, what was the worst place you played, and why was it Jones's Baltimore?
Actually, Baltimore was pretty cool, but we had a great manager, Davey Johnson. He was awesome. But we had a good team. We had a lot of scumbags. Scotty Erickson, as you know, he was my running partner for a long time, and so he. Worst place I probably played was probably Chicago, because it wasn't.
You son of a bitch.
Well, I played half a year. I was hurt. You had Jay Mariotti, who's the biggest douchebag of all time, as a reporter. He would always send his guys in and never come in and face the music, and just writing bad article after bad article. But one of the greatest cities that, to party in, no doubt about it. But just for me, because I was hurt, I ended up having back surgery halfway through the season. But to me, it was, if I'm going to go down that route, it was probably the worst for me, because I wasn't there very long, and I was hurt. But yeah, I just took a lot of criticism from the media there.
Hey, Boomer, did you dip? And I just wanted to ask you about Teza. Obviously, we've been talking about them on this show quite a bit for a lot of, whether it's old, young ball players, and
Right.
I know there's definitely less that do it nowadays, but the options here now, where teas, obviously it's like a tea bag you can put in, it's good for energy,
Teabag.
and most
He said
importantly,
teabag. Teabag somebody.
your words, not mine. If you want to talk to their marketing, you're more hooked up than I am. But no tobacco, no nicotine. You know the deal. Like, I mean, I know that's important to you, and Raj, who we've had on about this too. So do you have a dip story where you've been around people, or you were into it?
No, I did. I dipped. I tried chewing it first when I got into the league, and it was an old company called Mill Pouch, and so I used to steal it from one of our coaches, Billy Smith, and but it was one of those long time tobacco companies, and started doing that, and I was getting buzzed up really quick. So I started putting gum around it and did that. But then when I started trying to dip, oh man, that got me sick as a dog. But they say you got to keep doing it and try to keep doing it. But for me, it just took a little too long. So I went with the Hawkins for a bit, and the Hawkins started burning the hell out of my mouth. And then I started doing back to like long cut, and I did that for a little bit, and then I'm just like, you know what? It's not over. And then guys started getting mouth cancer and spots in there and doing all that. And that scared the hell out of me. So I was like, no, I ain't doing it. And then Brent Agan, who founded Teza, we met up years ago, and then he started this product, and I was like, man, I was on the trail. I was getting everybody to get off that stuff and get onto Teza because it's just all natural. It was a lot of herbs and caffeine. Did keep you up. So when we go golf, I do it every day. So especially when I'm golfing, I'll throw one in there and do that. But yeah, I think Brent's he's a lifesaver for a lot of guys, and and I think their wives are happy too. It should have been with Frank Thomas with that testosterone commercial he does, and she'll like it too. Well, it doesn't give you bad breath, so it actually had good flavor. So your wife or girlfriend will kiss you.
That's a great call. It's a great call. No, and obviously we're big fans. So, and coming from you means a lot.
Oh, no doubt.
I got one more for you. Have you seen just in the past, what is it, 24 hours, the A-Rod story about that whole investigation from that ESPN writer who said that, he outed a bunch of the other biogenesis people. Have you seen any of that stuff?
I haven't heard anything. What's going on? What am I missing?
Guys?
Basically, it came out. Remember, he obviously got in trouble for biogenesis, and then when the prosecutors got a hold of him, he's like, "Oh, well, this person too, and this person, and this person," and so he just started like naming names.
He ratted everybody out.
That's what they're saying. We don't. I mean, that's the
report.
Story. That's the report. Yeah, we're not saying they are saying it.
All right, it's allegedly, right? Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
It's a pretty good
So
story.
that's kind of allegedly what Canseco did when, he wasn't getting all the recognition, and then he started dropping names and all that. But allegedly, yeah, that's not good. You don't that will come back to bite you in the ass tenfold, and that's why I say nobody likes a rat. You always lie your way out of everything until you get caught, and then you better come clean. But you don't come out and just start ratting guys out right out of the get-go. A lot of guys go to prison and never say a word, and they get a lot of respect.
And I will say, it's more than allegedly. Like our producers behind the scenes are like, court papers were released through this story, and he got a deal to rat everyone out to avoid charges. So,
I just did a thing with him and Michael Kay. They did,
you were on that show, right? The alternate feed thing. Yeah.
Well, A-Rod, he hit me pretty well. He's got a lot of home runs off me and all that. So it's just it just sucks that when these guys get caught. You know what? Giambi did it right. He came out and he said, "Yeah, did it," and you don't ever hear his name ever. And he's probably one of the best teammates I ever had. I don't know if you ever played with Jason Giambi, but what a stud, what a great guy he is.
Did you wear the thong?
Never had to. I never went to
Got a slump to wear it. Hell yeah, baby.
I would have. I'd have paraded that little bitch around.
Were you tight with Jeter?
What's that?
Did you guys get along well? Jeter?
Oh, yeah, we got along really good.
Yeah.
When he was dating Mariah Carey, it was great because he'd come in the clubhouse singing, and he couldn't sing for crap. And he'd come in there, we'd just have a blast and just wear him out with it. But let me tell you, Derek was a great teammate, and he didn't shy away from anything. He'd come out with us, but he left at a respectful time. But he didn't shy away, and that's what you respect about these guys. You don't want, just because he's the captain, he's the team leader, but he did. It's like Cal Ripken. Cal Ripken was an awesome teammate too, because he'd drink beer for beer with you, and then you didn't want to mess with him, because if you were laying on the training table and he got on top of you and he got his hands dug in on the other side, you ain't going anywhere, and he can just crush you. Dude was strong as an ox. But you got guys like that. That's that just shows that everybody on the team, everyone's equal, and that's how Derek did it. Cal did it. They all did it. They treated us as we were all equal. That was great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, Boomer, awesome catching up with you. Really appreciate the time, man. Stay cool in there. I know it's hot as hell outside.
Dude, it's not even that hot in Florida anymore.
I'm
Quit
not there.
being such a whiny bitch.
Yeah, tell me.
Dude, you're in Orlando. Well, you're acclimated to it. You're in Orlando, and that's even hotter over here in Tampa. So it sucks.
You're supposed to have the beach, the breeze.
Yeah.
No,
it's hot down there too.
Yeah.
San Diego's the best weather ever. And Adam
Yeah,
knows
and that's
that.
why Adam's the smartest dude on the show.
Yeah,
He
but
knows
he's
what's
getting
up.
up in Texas. That's why
San
I got
Diego and a little Europe. So
the
he's
have
got
fun
it
with
right.
Gavin Newsom out there.
Hey, I don't got to talk to him. I stay in my bubble. Leave me alone.
I know you're paying out of pocket, dude. You're paying a lot of money out of that pocket.
Well, Boomer, it was awesome catching up with you, man. Appreciate the time.
Anytime, guys. This is a show. This is a great
Right?
show.
This is it.
Thank
This
you,
is
Boomer.
it.
And you can talk shit on one another, and nobody gets pissed off. That's what I love about it.
It's first of its kind in this sport. I'm telling you. I can tell you that as a fact. The former players kicking it around, going over the good stuff in the game, and obviously kicking back on some stories too, because you can. You know, it's been a minute, right? Like, you know how it. I mean, you were great with the media then, but like you can just like it's been a while. You know.
I wouldn't say I was great with the media. I hated the media, but you get a stupid question, you get a stupid answer.
Yeah, but that's entertaining.
Yeah, that's very entertaining.
I would have loved to have seen you with Ozzie Guillen and Jay Mariotti in Chicago, because
gosh.
Ozzie obviously hated him more than life itself. And so,
I tell you what,
you guys on the same team, and oh man,
I had my own little show, like a little podcast back then, and I would call him the Kotex Boy. And they would just, my producer would be in my ear screaming at me, "You can't say that." I go, "He is. He's a big puss, man. He's dripping blood, man." It's just like you're one of those dudes that he just never showed up, and he just would bury people.
I don't even know. I don't think he's in the media anymore or whatever.
Good.
I've not followed him. I was not a Chicago guy.
And another douchebag, that guy Keith Olbermann. He's the one. He's trying to stir the pot. That guy is done.
Oh, I saw you got on a Twitter war with him the other day.
Well, he said something stupid, and I just told him to shut the fuck up, and that was basically it. And but he went from ESPN, had a good job there. Then he started bashing players. Then he goes into politics, and now everybody in the political world hates him, and especially the sports world. The guy's washed up. They should just ignore him and don't give him the time of day.
I'm with you, and I'll tell you this. This show is all sports, gladly, because there's enough shit going on in that world. We just have a good time.
That's right. Hey, we just going to talk shit about baseball.
Which there's plenty of shit to talk about. And
enough crap in
owners. Owners tell the story. Owners are the best content. I will tell you that. If you just look at our shit sometimes too. So
no doubt.
But Boomer, we got to jump, man. It was good talking to you.
Pleasure, man. Good hanging out with you guys.
Cheers. Appreciate
Good
you.
to see old friends. I love it.
Hell yeah. David Wells with us on FT Live. Woo, that was fun. I felt like I was off the show for a little, just like, chatting on a call.
Because you
was. I technically. All right, so ready? We cannot avoid. We're missing one story, and I know we're a little over time, but we need to just give chapter 2 on Hot Corner of the fucking brutal news for the Rangers with Max Scherzer done for the year. You know what's crazy is you don't hear about that injury very often, the teres major muscle strain, but that's actually the same injury that Verlander had to start the season. So there's the Nightingale tweet, and everyone putting it out yesterday, and you got the word from Chris Young, and Max spoke, really well as always about the details of what happened and how he's like saying it felt like unlike anything he's felt before injury-wise and all of that, and it happened quick. Like he felt something, and several pitches later, he's like, "Damn, what the fuck?" And he's done. He said the only kind of positive is that it's not surgery, because at his age and his situation, it does sound like next year he's good to go, but done for the regular season. I mean, Chris Young, and I don't know if Scherzer added, but basically said unlikely, for postseason or anything. So that's it for 2023 Max, which sucks because the Rangers actually have had a good week, Adam. They took all 3 here against the Blue Jays so far, but now your big dog that you traded for in the rotation is done.
That's a big, big blow. I mean, obviously they still need to get into the tournament, but no one wants to face Scherzer, Evaldi, Montgomery, especially in a 3-game series for a wild card. But there's somebody's going to have to step up. Martin Perez maybe go back into the starting rotation, but you got to step up. But I mean, it's a big blow because it's a big dog and part of it. But good thing it's not surgery. So rehab and do what he needs to do for next year. But this is the year where the Rangers, obviously broke out and had a lot of expectations, obviously traded for him. But it's just a big blow. A lot of teams go through these kind of things. You just got to next man up it and figure it out because everybody else they don't care. They happy. Everybody, you don't think the Mariners you think the Mariners are like, damn, they lost it. No, they're happy that you don't have Scherzer. So guys just got to step up.
I will say, I mean, the Rays are missing, most of their rotation, and they're still looking good. So,
Exactly.
it is what it is.
Listen, it sucks for the Rangers. It sucks for Max. There's nothing you can do. Injuries happen, just a bad time of year. And he said he's going to be back ready to go next year. So the Rangers will get him for a full season next year, and we'll see what happens. But right now, the Rangers won the first 3 in Toronto, and can they do the sweep and maybe put the nail in the Toronto Blue Jays coffin tonight?
Yeah, their offense woke up a little bit, which is great. They're playing good ball in the past week now after a really rough, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So, all right, let's run through our picks pretty quick here. Our BetMGM locks. We look back. I was sizzling, now I'm fizzling, whatever. Yeah, there's your free game of the day from today on the BetMGM app. We can also look back at what happened yesterday and spin it forward. And as we're looking, we can scroll through this. We can run through picks. AJ, you got something good for us today?
Yeah, I didn't pick the White Sox today, so that was a good pick. I picked kind of a weird one, a crazy one after the talk we just had about how well the Rangers are playing. I took the Blue Jays money line, Kevin Gossman, 6+ punch outs, and over 7.5 runs. And that gets you to, guess what, Scott? Plus 350.
Whoa.
So I'm betting 200. And when I win, that'll get me to 700. Or no, wait, I want to bet 300 because that'll get me to 1,050. That'll get me back in the positive. So 300, Blue Jays don't get swept at home. Their offense shows up, and Gossman does what he's supposed to do because he is their ace.
Okay, he's going for it. I like it. Get yourself back level. I'm going to drop in a little Twins money line and Kenta Maeda 4Ks or more at -120. I'm just trying to buy down some of that Twins love and not do the run line because I don't want to get hooked on anything like where they win by a run and I lose out. Maeda's Ks have actually been down, so setting them at 4, not bad. It's the White Sox. Their offense sucks. Their offense sucks against righties. And on the other end, it's Jose Urena. Hasn't pitched well. Obviously hasn't pitched much in general. The Twins actually have been a pretty patient team lately, and they're getting the ball in the air much better in the second half. So I got those dudes. Jonesy, can I guess?
Yes, you could probably guess.
Is it a former ball club that you played for? Which, again, like a dub's a dub. And even if you're betting with your heart, you picked a good year to do that.
Exactly. And, I got to stay true to where I'm at right now. I'm in Birdland, Baltimore. The last 2 games, their offense hasn't been there. It happens. They're still in first place. Relax there, Birdland. But no, tonight I'm picking them tonight, the first game of a 4-game set with the Tampa Bay Rays. This is for the division almost. And I'm taking the Orioles money line. I'm also taking Mr. Mullins to drive in an RBI because he's one of the best hitters in baseball with men in scoring position. And I'm taking the Rookie of the Year front runner, Mr. Gunnar Henderson, to have 2+ total bases. And that is for a +600. So I'm going big. If you're with me, be with me. We're going big. Why go small? Why go
There it is.
small?
+600. If you want a very aggressive lock, I'm the only one in minus territory today. And Kratzy's got his usual, special that he cooks up with the pitching with Anderson and Webb today. So check that out. That's at +100. And that is a Kratz specialty. He does well in that category. So use the bonus code FOUL200 and you place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the app of at least $10. You get $200 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. And once you have placed that qualifying bet, you'll receive $200 in bonus bets. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And one more, a little action for the world here is I'm inside. It actually looks super sunny there, but a little Shady Rays action for everyone too. Want to shout out our guys there and gals and just say that if it's still hot as hell, like many of our guests are going through right now and very sunny, summer is very much not over at the moment. So make sure you get yourself hooked up with a little Shady Rays action. It's independent sunglasses company offering world-class product. It's just as good as any of that super, super bouge, fancy, expensive stuff that you're going for. It is bouge. It just doesn't cost as much. Durable frames, extremely clear optics. Get it all done and make sure you hit up shadyrays.com and don't pay full price. 50% off, 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Get it done. Also, if you don't love your pair, exchange for a new pair, return them free within 30 days. You know all about the lost and broken replacements plan, which you can learn more about if you've watched any of our shows in the past month or two. So no risk when you shop. Go for it at shadyrays.com. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. We'll finish up here, do a little slap hands action. Big announcement we'll do tomorrow, but let's get it done right now. All right, dude.
6-3, that's down.
Mostly for you. Yeah, it's still, we got to go back and redo it, I guess. Mostly for you, dude. Just congrats. Have a freaking time out
Thank
there.
you.
Actually hope the weather's nice for you. I haven't looked, but enjoy the sold out crowd. And also, I will say, you picked a good year for this too. You picked a good year to go celebrate the retirement and all that, because Baltimore's buzzing over their baseball team right now. And really, because we've talked about the Nats a little bit over the past couple of weeks with Rizzo re-signing and the Strasburg stuff, whatever. There was a time period where, Nats baseball was the thing, right? And they had a good run, and they were kind of stealing some fans down in that area. Baltimore's grabbing them back right now because they're playing ball.
Dude, they're reeling them back in, and they're playing terrific. I'm glad that it worked out. I just want to be a little part of their celebration season. They're playing great. They're putting themselves in a position to do something special. Here comes October, and the fans are excited about it. But the fans are excited not just only for this year. They know that, okay, we're maybe exceeded expectations a little bit this year, but they're excited for the future. And when you have your fan base excited for the future, that's when it's more rewarding. That they know that, okay, maybe not this year is our year. Next year, in a few years, we have a window. Now you go to a team like the Padres, the fans are already like, oh, fire sale. Let's do all this, because I'm in tune with a lot of those guys. Baltimore is a little different. They're like, hey, let's, we got a team. Let's keep bringing these guys. Let's keep grooming them. They love what ownership has done. They love what the Elias has done, and they just want to keep maintaining it. Obviously, the fans want to bring in a bigger name, a big free agent, but at the same time, they understand that that's not us, but we love our guys. And as a blue collar city, this was an easy place to play. Show up and play. And Cal Ripken was the catalyst here. So it's I need a day off. You just go into the training room yeah, I'm sore today. And he just looks at you just like this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really? You're sore. Got you. So it was an easy place to play. Just show up to work and just play.
And you did that, dude. You were durable as hell. So fans appreciate that they know that they can show up, and they know you're going to be in the lineup, which, there's plenty of dudes that couldn't keep themselves on the field for whatever reasons, which it happens, but people appreciate posting every day. Still, in my mind, an underrated part of the game. And Atlanta clinched. That's the other thing we'll get to more tomorrow, but Atlanta's dudes play every day. That stuff stands out. So just keep that in mind. Every freaking day.
I was told, it's crazy. In free agent, I was told that I played too much, so teams weren't as interested in me. It's they tell you be an everyday player. I did that, but I did it too much. I played too many games. I'm what the hell does that even mean? So basically, I'm an 06 Expedition Eddie Bauer edition. I got the leather inside, but I was just an old Expedition at that point.
That is such garbage. Okay. Oh, he plays too much.
Terrible.
What?
Yeah. That's the point.
That's one of the worst takes I've ever heard in baseball. He plays too much, guys.
Yep. Too much tread. There's not enough tread left on the tire. They would take another player. I wouldn't want to say the player's name, but they would rather have another player at 110 to 120 games rather than me for the 150 that I was producing. I'm just I know there's games where you don't do nothing. There's tons of games where you just over forward, why show up? But when it looks sexy, I don't give a damn what nobody say. It looks sexy when you see 150 games on the back of that card. I don't care.
No, you're right.
112s, 108s, 96. Nah, them ain't it.
Nope. You did it right, man. I'm telling you, and there's less and less of that, and I know it's hard to do, so you should be proud of that. That's a big deal. Yeah. And fans still respect the hell out of that. I will give you that.
100% they do.
Hey, quick announcement. So for everyone, next week, watching FT Live, we will be in Cincinnati. Live broadcast,
Ooh.
1 to 3 Eastern from Great American Ballpark on Monday, on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, right around that BetMGM Sportsbook. Look out for us. Myself, Todd Father, Danny Graves is going to join the FT team next week, so can't freaking wait. We'll give you more details on it tomorrow, but all you need to know, we'll be out there live. We'll be talking to Reds. We'll be talking to some Twins players too, because they're playing the Twins. So can't wait for that. And we'll give you more details tomorrow, though. But just wanted to throw that out there to the FT world. And especially if you're in Cincinnati and you want a little Todd Father and Danny Graves content, or, those two were a big deal in Cincinnati. So it's pretty cool that we got them all together there to do that.
Get some Montgomery, please.
Get some what?
Montgomery and ribs.
Montgomery in ribs. Okay, marking that down because I've done some steakhouse action down there and I don't remember the names. But we have an amp caller. Let's bring in our amp caller right now to finish up. What's your name? Who's your squad? And what's your comment or question? You got Braun and Jones here. Unmute.
Hi, guys. My name is Dylan from New Jersey. My favorite team, I love my New York Yankees. I know they're not doing great this year, but always looking forward to next year. My question is more for Jonesy. Just with the firing of Chaim Bloom and the people in the Red Sox front office, I was just curious, as a player in that organization, what is the feel in the clubhouse like? Are guys talking about this? Do they discuss this with each other? Does the owner come in and tell them that this is going to happen, or do they learn from TV like us? I just want to know what that process is like and what the feel in that clubhouse is now. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Great question too, Jonesy.
Great question. It's all the above. It's like you get reports from social media because obviously people are in tune to that. But I think some players who have a little bit more cachet maybe have a little bit more sense of what's going on. Maybe there was arguments behind closed doors, things that obviously you have to be uniform personnel to know and understand to be in that situation. But definitely there's conversations about it. The guys are like, hey, hold on, because there was no hinting towards it. We knew with the Mets, there was a hinting towards it. We knew with the White Sox, okay, with a season like they're having, with the expectations over the last 4 years, okay, change is needed. With Boston, it was like, whoa, that surprised me. I seen a tweet earlier that really surprised me because I thought he was doing a fantastic job. It was the same thing when Stearns resigned in Milwaukee. You're like, why? But there's always a greener pasture. These guys are very smart and they understand that the business of it. Sometimes, when you're fired, it's the best thing that could happen for you in your career. Sometimes when you decide not to take a job or resign from one, it might, look at greener pastures. But guys definitely talk about it. The younger guys are definitely like, oh man, what happened? Especially if you're part of his regime and he brought you up in his tutelage, you're definitely like, hey, am I next? Because I'm part of his thing. You're not. Relax, players. But it's definitely conversations that go on because it's a business and we're all part of it. There's all little small parts of it that go on. Obviously, the president of baseball operations is one of the biggest chinks in the armor. But the conversation go on, and it's just weird because I had one manager fired, and it's during the season, and it was my second year in Baltimore, so I'm like Millar, Huff, Ramon Hernandez, like Melvin Moore. Like, how do I even react? I don't even know how to even have a reaction to this. What do I do? And it's like your name in the lineup, you play. So
yeah, I mean, there's anxiety, but you can't worry about it. You got to go, just do your thing. Speaking from someone who's never touched a dugout or a clubhouse or any of that. That's why he goes, this is for Jonesy. No, that's good. That was a great question and a great answer too. So we do that every day, usually about 10-2. You can, if you're listening in on AMP, you can request to join and follow at Foul Territory in AMP. It's free to join, and we take questions. I love it. I love doing it. So for more info, we've got plenty on our socials if you want to figure out how to do that if you haven't been on AMP before. And that's it. What a day. A lot of news. Boomer was Boomer. David Wells, thank you, dude. And we got Ken Rosenthal back at it on Friday, and we will be watching the game of the night. Jonesy, good luck. Have fun, man.
Thank you, man. I knew Boomer was awesome. I heard great stories about him, and it just confirmed how awesome he was. I would have loved to hang out with him.
Hell yeah.
I would have been his running mate.
Everyone,
I would have been.
you would have loved it. Everyone needs a night out with Boomer. Okay, they should auction him off or something. Hey, night out.
100%. Oh, we should have asked him that. Can we?
Hey, if we hit him up, we can all go out with him with the FT team. If
yeah.
we pay for drinks, he'll go. So we'll get all the stories. See you on Friday.